What if I told you that the person you are today, the way you think, feel, and react to everything in your life, has been shaped by something you can't even remember? That the choices you make, the walls you put up, and the way you avoid pain aren't really your decisions at all, but echoes of a past you thought you left behind? Think about it. How many times have you found yourself stuck in the same emotional loops, unable to move past certain fears, doubts, or triggers? Why do you keep revisiting those old wounds, even when you swear you're done with them? The truth is, your past isn't just a collection of memories, it's a blueprint, a hidden map that still controls the way you experience your present. Until you confront this truth, you'll keep living in the shadow of a past that isn't even yours anymore. The question is, are you ready to face it, or will you keep running from what's been controlling you all along? You walk through life carrying a weight you can't even see, a pressure that quietly dictates your choices, your reactions, the way you interact with the world. It's not physical, but it's there. It's the shadow of your past, lingering in the background, influencing you in ways you may never fully understand. You feel it when you hesitate to speak your truth, when you hold back from taking risks, or when you retreat in fear without knowing why. You think it's just the way life is, but in reality, it's the invisible chains of your past, binding you without your consent. These chains are not a memory, they are an active force. The hurt you suffered long ago, the rejection you experienced, the moments when you felt abandoned or unloved, they don't simply fade into the past. They leave behind a blueprint, an imprint on your subconscious that remains unseen but ever present. And that blueprint, it continues to shape every decision you make today, even if you don't remember the original event that created it. Think about your patterns, those cycles you find yourself trapped in over and over again, the relationships that repeat the same mistakes, the self-sabotage that appears just when you're on the verge of success. Do you recognize the feeling? It's as if you're following a script that was written for you long ago, one you never agreed to but can't seem to escape. You know something is holding you back, but it feels like a force beyond your control. Maybe you don't even remember the source of these chains. Perhaps you've blocked it out, buried the memories so deep that the pain no longer feels real. But what if I told you that these hidden forces still control you, even though you're not consciously aware of them? That every action you take, every emotion you feel, is colored by something buried in your past. This is the truth. Until you confront the ghosts that haunt you, you will keep living out the same patterns. You will keep making the same mistakes, repeating the same fears, trapped in a cycle you didn't choose but can't seem to escape. But here's the thing. These chains may be invisible, but they are not indestructible. You don't have to be a prisoner of your past. It's time to face the invisible forces that shape your life and begin to break free. You may not know exactly how or where to start, but the first step is simple. Acknowledging that the past is not as far away as you think. It's here, it's now, it's inside of you. And once you see it for what it is, you can begin to unlock the chains that have been holding you captive. There are wounds we carry that we can't see, but they shape everything about us, our choices, our fears, our relationships. We tell ourselves that we've moved on, that we've left the pain behind. But what if that's not true? What if, buried deep inside, there are parts of you still bleeding, still aching, still holding on to the past, even though you're desperately trying to outrun it? We all have wounds, some big, some small, some we can't even remember. But what's so dangerous about them isn't the pain we feel in the moment, it's the way they linger, the way they infect everything that comes after. When we don't heal them, they become part of our identity. They shape the way we see the world, the way we trust people, the way we approach new challenges. They become invisible walls, stopping us from moving freely, from experiencing life in its fullness. You may think you've moved on from childhood hurts, from heartbreak, from betrayal or failure, but have you really? Or have you simply built walls around them, told yourself stories to avoid facing what still hurts? Anger, fear, numbness. These emotions don't just appear for no reason. They are the product of wounds that were never healed. You may not recognize it, but that anger that flares up over small things, it's a wound, that fear of vulnerability. It's a wound. That constant numbness, that inability to truly feel connected to others. That's a wound too. And here's the truth. Those wounds don't disappear, no matter how much you want them to. They don't vanish because you ignore them. They're always there, festering beneath the surface, waiting to show up when you least expect it. Maybe it's a reaction you have to something someone says. Maybe it's the way you push people away when they get too close. Or maybe it's the self-doubt that creeps in whenever you try to step out of your comfort zone. The scars from your past are shaping every step you take today, and until you confront them, you'll never be truly free. This is not an easy journey to undertake. It requires you to face parts of yourself that you'd rather keep buried. But the reality is, those wounds are still controlling your life, and they will continue to do so until you finally stop running from them. The longer you wait, the heavier they become. But the moment you decide to confront them, to truly heal them, is the moment you begin to reclaim your power. You stop being a prisoner of your past. You stop letting the old hurts dictate who you are. Healing isn't just about moving on, it's about owning your pain and choosing to transform it into strength. It's about acknowledging the weight you're carrying, letting it go, and finally learning to live in the present without the chains of the past pulling you down. Are you ready to face what's been festering inside, to release the weight that has been keeping you stuck? The path to healing begins with one simple truth. You can no longer afford to ignore the wounds that are still bleeding inside of you. Have you ever wondered why it feels like you're stuck in the same cycle, making the same mistakes over and over again, even though you've sworn you would never repeat them? You try to change, you make promises to yourself, but somehow you find yourself back in that same place, reliving the same hurt, the same disappointment, the same failure. It's as if no matter how hard you try, you're trapped in a loop you can't escape. What if I told you that this isn't just coincidence, and it's not because you're weak or not trying hard enough? There's something deeper at play, something that you might not even be aware of. The fear of repetition isn't about you wanting to make the same mistakes. It's about something much more insidious. Your mind, conditioned by the past, has learned to seek out what's familiar, even when that familiarity brings pain. The truth is, your subconscious mind craves what it knows, even when what it knows is harmful. It's not just a matter of choice. Your mind wants stability, predictability, and even if that stability comes in the form of hurt, it will choose the known over the unknown. The past, with all its trauma and pain, becomes your reference point, your baseline for what feels real. The thought of stepping into something new, something unknown, can be terrifying. Even if it promises growth, even if it offers freedom, your mind's instinct is to pull you back into what's familiar. It's safer, in a twisted way. You may think you want to heal, but part of you resists the change. Part of you holds on to the comfort of the old wounds, the patterns of pain, because they are what you know. The idea of stepping into a new life, a new version of yourself, feels foreign and unsettling. It's as if the very essence of who you are is tied to those repeated mistakes, to that past pain. Breaking free feels like letting go of something that's always been there, something that's been part of your identity. But here's the uncomfortable reality. Until you break this loop, you will remain trapped. The fear of repetition, the fear of falling back into old habits, of recreating the same toxic cycles, is what keeps you from moving forward. The very thing you fear most is the thing that is keeping you stuck. You are scared to fail again, to hurt again, but in doing so, you are also keeping yourself from the possibility of true transformation. You don't have to live in the past forever. The key to breaking this cycle is understanding that you are not destined to repeat the same story. But first, you have to face the fear that comes with change. You have to challenge your mind's conditioning and step into the unknown, even if it scares you. The real trap is not the mistakes of the past, it's the belief that you can't escape them. So, ask yourself, what are you afraid of? What part of you is holding on to the repetition, the pain, the comfort of the familiar? The truth is, real growth comes when you face the unknown, when you step outside the cycle you've been living in. It's time to break free from the fear of repetition and take your first step toward a new, transformed life. Why do you keep finding yourself in the same emotional battles, no matter how many new people you meet? Why does it feel like the same patterns, the same conflicts, keep showing up in your relationships time and time again? The face changes, but the story remains eerily familiar. A new partner, a new friend, a new colleague, but somehow, the issues you struggle with, the way you react, the way you get hurt, always seem to echo the past. It's not a coincidence. What you're seeing isn't just a reflection of who you are now, it's a mirror, reflecting parts of your past that you have yet to face. The relationships that have hurt you most, the ones that left deep scars, the ones that left you feeling abandoned, misunderstood, or betrayed. These experiences didn't just fade with time. They became templates, blueprints, etched into your subconscious, shaping the way you connect with others. You may think you're choosing your partners, your friends, your confidants based on what you want, but what if the truth is more unsettling? What if, without even realizing it, you're unconsciously choosing people who will mirror your unresolved wounds? The friend who betrays your trust, the partner who dismisses your emotions, the family member who treats you as less than you are. They don't just come into your life randomly. They show up to reflect the parts of you that remain unhealed. Think about it. How many times have you walked away from a relationship feeling like you've been hurt in the same way, by someone who felt eerily familiar? Maybe they remind you of your parent, your ex, or someone else from your past. It's like you're living the same story over and over again, with different players. These people, whether you consciously choose them or not, are holding up a mirror to the unresolved issues and wounds you carry inside. You may think you're stuck in a pattern, but here's the uncomfortable truth. These patterns don't just happen. They are created by the unresolved emotional baggage you carry with you. The emotional wounds that have never fully healed are the ones you project onto your relationships, and until you deal with them, they will keep showing up. You're not just reacting to the person in front of you, you're reacting to a version of your past that you haven't yet let go of. It's time to examine what those mirrors are showing you. What parts of your past are still controlling your present? Are you choosing people who trigger your old wounds because you're not yet ready to heal them? To break free from this cycle, you need to face those wounds directly. You need to stop letting your past dictate your future connections. Your relationships are a reflection of how much emotional healing you've done. If you want to break free from toxic patterns, you must first confront the unresolved issues within yourself. Only then can you start building healthier, more fulfilling connections. The real question is, are you ready to look in the mirror and see what's been hidden there all along? Have you ever been on the edge of something great, on the verge of success, only to pull back at the last second? You can feel it the moment when everything aligns, when the future opens up before you, offering a path of potential. And then, without even knowing why, you find a way to stop yourself. You procrastinate, make excuses, or even destroy what you've worked for. It's as if something inside you is determined to make sure you don't succeed. You tell yourself that you're just afraid of failure, but is that really it? The truth is, self-sabotage isn't a mistake or a flaw in your character. It's a defense mechanism, a psychological response to a past that's shaped your sense of worth and possibility. You may not consciously want to fail, but deep down, there's a part of you that's terrified of what success means. Success brings change. It brings exposure. It brings a version of yourself that you've been conditioned to believe isn't safe to become. Think about it. How often have you felt the urge to stay small, to play it safe, to stay inside the box you've built around yourself? This isn't just about fear of failure. It's about fear of success. It's about fear of stepping into a life that might require more from you, a life where you're no longer hiding in the shadows of your past. You've been taught by your experiences, your struggles, and the pain you've carried that being small is safer. That stepping outside the lines of what you know, no matter how limited that may be, is dangerous. Change, success, and growth feel unfamiliar, and your mind rejects the unfamiliar because it brings discomfort. Self-sabotage is the unconscious protection of what feels safe, even if what feels safe is holding you back from becoming who you were always meant to be. The fear of stepping into something greater than yourself, of finally allowing yourself to succeed, stirs up emotions you may not even realize are still with you. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of standing out. The idea of becoming someone new feels like a betrayal of everything you've known about yourself. But here's the breakthrough. Understanding that self-sabotage isn't about a lack of willpower or discipline. It's about recognizing the deeper layers of fear, confusion, and emotional pain that hold you back. It's about realizing that your past has taught you to stay in the comfort zone, to avoid risks, and to reject anything that feels like growth. When you can confront these beliefs and fears head-on, you can begin to take conscious control of your actions. You can stop being the one who holds yourself back. Self-sabotage is not your enemy. It's your mind's misguided attempt to protect you from something it doesn't understand. But once you recognize this truth, you can choose to break free from the chains of fear. You can choose to trust yourself enough to step into the unknown, to embrace the potential that lies beyond your comfort zone. The key isn't to fight against the self-sabotage. It's to understand it, dismantle it, and move forward with the awareness that you are no longer bound by your past fears. In your quest for peace, for stability, for freedom, have you ever stopped to notice just how much of your life you try to control? You try to control your relationships, your emotions, your environment. You think that if you just get everything in line, if you can control the people around you, the outcomes of your actions, then everything will finally fall into place. But have you ever considered that your desperate need to control everything is not actually bringing you the freedom you desire? In fact, it might be doing the exact opposite. The truth is, the desire to control doesn't stem from a place of power, it stems from a place of fear. A fear that comes from a past where you felt powerless, where the unpredictable chaos of life caused you pain, confusion, and hurt. You learned early on that the only way to avoid that hurt was to control your environment, your circumstances, your emotions, even the people in your life. You thought that if you could just control everything, you would be safe. But the harder you try to control everything around you, the less control you actually have. Think about it. How many times have you tried to control a situation, only to find that no matter how much you try to manipulate it, it slips out of your grasp? You get frustrated, angry, stressed, and yet the situation still escapes your hold. The relationships you try to manage, the plans you try to enforce, the emotions you try to suppress, they all fall apart in ways you can't predict. And in that frustration, you only trap yourself further. This illusion of control, this belief that if you just manage everything perfectly, you can avoid pain, is what keeps you stuck. It keeps you from embracing the unpredictability of life, which is where true growth resides. Life will never be predictable. People will always change, circumstances will shift, and your emotions will ebb and flow. But the beauty of life lies in its unpredictability, the very unpredictability you've been trying so hard to avoid. The truth is that real freedom comes not from trying to control everything, but from letting go. When you surrender to the flow of life, when you stop trying to hold on to the things that are outside of your control, you begin to experience a kind of liberation. You stop fighting the natural course of things, and instead, you begin to flow with them. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that you can handle whatever comes your way, even when it's messy, even when it's uncertain. The moment you stop trying to control, the moment you accept that you don't have to have all the answers, is the moment you begin to break free from the chains of your past. In that moment, you realize that control never gave you the safety or peace you were seeking. It only kept you in a prison of your own making. True freedom comes when you surrender the need to control, and instead embrace the wild, unpredictable nature of life. That's when you can finally break free. What if the one thing keeping you stuck in your past, the one thing that keeps dragging you back, no matter how much you try to move forward, is your inability to forgive? It's easy to think that forgiveness is a gift you give to others, a way of letting go of the wrongs they've done to you. But what if I told you that forgiveness isn't just for them, it's for you? Not just forgiving others, but forgiving yourself. Because the truth is, every moment you hold on to anger, shame, or guilt, you are shackling yourself to a past that no longer serves you. And in doing so, you rob yourself of the freedom to move forward. We've all been wronged. We've all been hurt by someone, whether it was a betrayal, a broken promise, or an unjust rejection. But in the act of holding on to that pain, we do far more damage than we realize. The anger, the resentment, the bitterness that you carry inside isn't hurting them, it's hurting you. It's poisoning your present, clouding your future, and keeping you trapped in the emotional echo of a past that can never be changed. But here's the catch. Forgiveness isn't about excusing the wrongs that were done to you. It's not about pretending they didn't hurt. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional weight that those wrongs continue to carry in your life. When you forgive, you stop allowing the past to dictate your present and your future. You give yourself permission to let go, to breathe again, to finally stop living in the shadow of what was done to you. And the hardest part? Forgiving yourself. Because often, it's not just the people who hurt you that need your forgiveness. It's the way you've held on to the mistakes, the guilt, the regret that you've been carrying. The times you feel you could have done better. The moments you feel you failed yourself. The truth is, these self-inflicted wounds are just as powerful and just as dangerous as the ones caused by others. So, I ask you, who are you really holding on to, and why? Who are you still punishing? Is it the person who hurt you? Or is it the version of yourself that you feel should have known better? The pain of the past will continue to haunt you until you make the decision to release it. Forgiveness doesn't mean you're letting the other person off the hook. It means you're giving yourself permission to stop carrying the weight of what was done to you. You're reclaiming your energy, your power, and your ability to live fully in the present. Forgiveness is not an easy path. It requires confronting the raw, painful emotions that you've been avoiding. But it's the only way to break the cycle of pain, shame, and bitterness. When you forgive, you stop living in the past, and you start creating the life you truly deserve, one of peace, freedom, and healing. The question is, are you ready to let go? Are you ready to stop holding yourself hostage to a past that no longer has any power over you? When you forgive, you reclaim your future. You take back the life that's been waiting for you all along. You've spent so much of your life carrying the weight of your past, trying to move forward while being held back by chains you couldn't see. But now, the moment has come. The moment where you get to decide whether your past will continue to define you, or whether you will finally break free and step into the future you've always dreamed of. This is the turning point, the moment of transformation. You've faced your hidden chains. You've acknowledged the wounds that still ache inside of you. You've broken free from the cycles of fear, and you've learned to forgive not just others, but yourself. And now, it's time to reclaim what's yours. You are no longer bound by the stories of who you were or the things that happened to you. The past is a chapter of your life, but it doesn't have to be the whole story. The narrative you've lived so far, one shaped by pain, fear, and self-doubt, isn't the only version of you that exists. There's a new story waiting to be written, one that isn't held back by the ghosts of yesterday. You are not your past mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not the wounds that haven't fully healed. You are a person of potential, a person with the power to create a new identity, a new future. This is where you get to decide. Who do you want to be? The person you've been so far has been shaped by the things you've experienced, the pain you've endured, the lessons you've learned, the mistakes you've made. But that person is not your destiny. Your future self is waiting for you to step into the life you deserve, to build a new identity based on your strengths, your growth, and your willingness to embrace change. It's time to let go of the identity you've carried out of fear. It's time to stop seeing yourself through the lens of past hurt. You have the power to create something new, something that is truly yours. The first step in this process is releasing the past. Not denying it, not pretending it didn't happen, but releasing it as the force that defines your present. The more you let go of the past, the more space you create for your true self to emerge. The second step is to fully embrace your own potential. It's time to step into the future, not as the person who was hurt or the person who made mistakes, but as the person who has learned, who has grown, who is capable of becoming something greater than they ever thought possible. This is the time for you to take control of your life, not from a place of fear or defense, but from a place of clarity, strength, and self-love. Reclaiming your future means stepping into the unknown with trust and courage. It means allowing yourself to evolve into the person you've always had the potential to become. No longer defined by your past, you can finally build a life that is truly yours, one that is full of possibility, freedom, and personal power. The past has shaped you, but it doesn't have to own you. The future is yours for the taking. All it requires is the courage to step into it, to embrace the transformation that is waiting for you, and to trust that you have everything you need to make it your own.